Hey, so I actually was just looking back on my videos and realized that there was one other aspect of Unity that I hadn't addressed yet. I started addressing, and that was a random healing I did for a generational wound today. Didn't even realize this was happening until it happened. The thing is in understanding how to bring unity between Casper and I, in us understanding how to work together, I do have to understand how I have been hurt. I have to understand the patterns that have played out between both of us. And the other thing is, I have to help him be a better father. Why? I've given up on my whole thing of that the husband I met will somehow end up becoming that person again. Too much has happened, and I can forgive it all. In fact, I have forgiven so much, but I am a little love avoidant right now. I am a little scared of the idea of, oh my gosh, what if he actually does start to put in some effort here? The reason is because I have come so far in detachment from him, so far in saying shit happens. What happened to us happened. I've learned all I can learn, but I have put forth so much effort on my own. And yeah, there's always the argument of the other person's gonna say, well, I put in all the effort. But no, when it comes to this journey, I'm the one that's been putting in the effort. And this is part of my overall mission. But the thing is, I just cannot picture him in the capacity of my lover anymore. And I don't think I ever want to go back to that. And I'm fine. At least I think I am. Unless there's some deeper part of myself buried. I believe I'm fine saying, no, I don't want that. And why I'm fine moving toward Jeannie or whoever else God has set up for me as a lover. But the thing is I need to still bring some unity between Casper and I. I still need to allow him to get through his wounds so he could break his part of whatever he's passed on to Layla. Layla is the product of two parents. She's got half of my DNA and half of Casper's DNA. So I've realized I can do all I want to sit there and break my portion of the chains of pain I have passed along, of the genetic and generational curses. But she still has another half lineage she has to work through. And so, as her mother, it's my responsibility to help make sure that those chains get broken too. Because right now, my job is, Casper and I were children having children, just like the rest of the world is. But I am committed to making sure it ends with me. And I am committed to making sure that Layla has a better chance at life and whatever this world needs than I had. And that her children, and then her children's children. And I have this vision that, kind of like the whole thing of the grandmothers and 7 generations from now. That's what I'm looking out for. 7 generations from now. Where do I want my great whatever grandchildren, where do I want them to be? What can this planet be like 7 generations from now if what I'm putting in place now gets to keep going forward? But whatever I put in place right now is not going to completely do anything. In fact, it's quite likely to be sabotaged the moment Layla finds a partner and decides to pass along her genes. Because there will be half of her that has never been healed. So she'll keep passing on the sins of the father, even if the sins of the mother are healed. But even the sins of the mother can't be completely healed unless she understands how and why her mother reacted to her father in the way that that dynamic occurred, so she doesn't repeat it. Because if I also don't figure out and then explain to her how, these patterns, I can understand it somewhat from my perspective, but she's starting to show me how she is playing out these same things. And what scares me, she's getting older. And yeah, I mean, I'm not going to deny it. Someday she will have a partner. Someday she will pass along her genetics. I really certainly hope she waits until she's an adult, and I will do my absolute best to talk to her and make sure she waits until marriage. And make sure she actually does want to be a parent and understands the full implications of the responsibility of that. But you know what? If it happens, it happens. So time really is of the essence, because by her body's calendar, she's fertile right now. I really don't know where this is going. This is actually a really tough one right now. So I've been making moves to make sure that her and Casper heal their relationship, because I've told Casper, look, I'm stepping out. I really don't care if you ever give me your heart, because I know it won't happen. This was when I was still trying to fix things. But I want you to focus on Layla. I want you to focus on your relationship with her, rebuilding with her, and giving her the father that she deserves. That's why I left to Paradise. One of the reasons I left was thinking that everything was my fault, because Casper made it a point of always telling me everything was my fault, even though he denies it. It doesn't matter. It's just he said he couldn't parent because I was always interfering. So I thought if I left, well, then he could do whatever he wanted to do. And prove me wrong in everything that I did. I was really hoping he would, actually, because I had screwed up so royally with Layla. I figured, well, maybe he knew something that I didn't. He just, for whatever reason, couldn't do it when I was around. Well, the parenting never happened. In fact, the opposite of parenting happened. And because I wasn't there, she got to run amok. And that's what she wanted to get back to, is she kind of likes that feeling of running amok, not having those boundaries, being able to do whatever she wants to. But I can't allow for that. She's only 12 years old. She needs rules and boundaries. Yeah, I was able to put that on myself when I was 13. But I had a completely different set of life experiences that had a lot of adversity in it, and had to become a mom to my sister. My life experiences were tough and forced me into the situation of responsibility. And unfortunately, well, it's fortunate, I try to give her this life of it being more comfortable than mine was. But the other part of that is she won't really ever know responsibility. And I think that's kind of why the actions I'm taking now are leading her in that direction of finding that responsibility. So I've been really trying to identify the things that Casper is doing, how he communicated with me, because that was something I never did quite figure out. I was always hoping I would talk to him so much and that he would finally decide, especially once I came back from Paradise and put renewed effort into fixing our marriage. I was really hoping that he would come forward and tell me what his motivations were, how he reacted to me, how I triggered him, and whatever. But no, it still was a detective game where I had to figure out what was going on. So I started figuring it out, and I told him, look, I don't care if you don't give me your heart. At least give it to Layla. At least give it to your friend whose son just died. At least open it up to somebody and build a relationship with somebody instead of keeping yourself so closed. I was reluctant to do that too. And I knew, even when he said that words to me, that, well, only Jesus can heal our relationship. Casper doesn't want to commit himself to Jesus. He doesn't want to be spirit-led. He still wants to be led of the mind and logic and the typical patriarchal paradigm that exists in this world. And he has no interest in reconciliation. Honestly, I realized it was just a tactic, like Maleficent's, to string me along. Hers, she was showing me. In essence, kind of testing me. Would I fall back into the same trap? His was also a test of would I fall back into that same trap. I'm not going to. But it's made me also, both of them have made me more committed to Layla. And more, I'm realizing the need to be mother bear, protective. I won't let go of what I have worked so hard to build. I am determined to bring unity to this world. And Layla shows a lot of interest in what I do. She has so much potential. Spirit's already decided to violate her life at an early age, wake her up, so I did what I could to be there for her. Nobody else understands her or her experiences like I do. I'm the only one that has ever been able to help her make sense of her life. So it seems to me I'm the one that needs to be the parent. And while, people always want what's easier. They always want their addictions. They always want what seems funner. But if I go back to my own life, I imposed my own rules on myself. My friends all had parents to do it. I imposed my rules on myself. It was, I don't know how I did it. I only did it through God. I honestly don't know how I did it. But when I tried to unschool and do all that, I expected that Layla would be able to do the same thing. So I'm even more baffled about how I did it. So I don't know. I'm trying to figure out how to really explain, I guess, what happened today. And then I saw, for like the third time in the past couple weeks, I saw a communication pattern of what Genie was doing that I realized he had often communicated to me in the same way. And that led to very disempowered feelings. It led to a very unhealthy dynamic. And it's probably the same way that my dad communicated to me, that led me to, repeat this pattern and finding lovers for myself. And this is what I don't want Layla to repeat. I don't want her to repeat the patterns of finding a mate that's like her father. Because while we don't heal in one part of our life or even lifetime, it will be healed at some point. That's what karma is. So I had to put an end to this, and so I see these patterns I've been gifted with this sight. So I've decided to start to call Casper out on these patterns. And he's making an effort to try to help me parent Layla more. But as such, I'm starting to see, because he's been so terrified of speaking his voice, almost as if he didn't want me to really see what he was doing to me. Because I told him, you were so big on always telling me everything I did wrong. You were so big on trying to guide me and say that I didn't have, that I just, but you don't say anything to Layla. You don't do anything to try to guide her or give her a different way of looking at things. You don't help her problem solve anything, but you were always big on trying to tell me that I was doing something wrong. I don't get this. This seems a little hypocritical to me. So I'm starting to point out the patterns I'm seeing, because he is opening up to communication now. And I'm able to start to see, I get it, yeah. That happened at some point, specifically, I don't remember what, but I recognize that energy. And so I can do something about it. And, yeah. So, I still I can't really recall exactly what happened today. I just know that I healed something. because I called him out on something, and then, in essence, made him go spend time with Layla. I mediated between the two of them to figure out what each of them really wanted, but more so I'm trying to figure out what Layla wants and trying to figure out how to get Casper to give that to her, because right now what she's craving is not so much, what she needs is a healthy father figure. You know, so I want him, I guess I'm trying to get him to fix the damage that he's done so she can actually have a loving relationship with a man when she grows up. I didn't quite realize that's what I was doing. I don't even know. But I know that he was not quite happy, but he also felt obligated. And it was the saddest thing in the world that he went to the bathroom and then Layla comes crying because she saw how much he didn't seem to care. I mean, she's known this for some time, but it just really slapped her in the face today. All I could do is hug her and say, I know, but this is why I do the work I do. Because it happened to me. I see him trying to do that to you. And I won't allow that to happen. Till my dying breath, I'm going to do everything I can. This is why I talk to you so much about everything that's going on. It's why I talk to him. And now I'm starting to see these patterns that are playing out and trying to fix them. I have hope. It's funny. Not funny. It is. I don't know. I have hope. Even though I don't know why. Maybe this was what it meant for me to wonder, could Casper and I ever rebuild? And it wasn't for me to say, yeah, that's what I wanted. It was for me to recommit to going deeper into my wounds, to look at them dispassionately, to see how they're playing out with other people. And can I be detached enough from the source of my wounds to see how he is doing this to someone else, how my father did that to me, and just this particular flavor of this dysfunctional pattern that I'm seeing happen across in many areas now. But there is something to be said for knowledge gained from a familiar situation. So the knowledge I'm gaining here is far above any knowledge that I would gain from observing some other situation, because I have a personal stake in this. If anything, it's just for closure of my own wounds. So there is a thing to be said for shadow work if you understand why it happened. You understand the projections and reflections on both sides. You understand the karmic lesson involved. But there also comes a thing of needing to actually heal the heart. Maybe that's what this is about, that closure. Not saying I want recompense, or I want it to all suddenly go away, or for history to undo itself. Or even to reset that reset button. Push that reset button. I want to move forward in a healthy way. And I want to make sure that Layla can move forward in a healthy way. Because she's my focus now. I do the work I do if for no one else than her. She is our future. The children are our future. And this is the child that God gave me. And she is showing me, God is showing me her potential. We are quite the team. I'm starting to realize this. I should come on with another video and talk about how she's been helping me heal people in relationships. Quite beautiful. Anyways, once again, I'm just placing markers. I know nobody watches this, but I think this is all important for my books when I get back to writing them. Or I'm just trying to understand various concepts as they come to me, and someday I'll compile it all into an actual linear teaching format. For now, though, it's all quite random. I understand my randomness, but probably nobody else does, and that's okay. So, once again, I love you all. Bye.